Now, the hunting med kit is probably one of the most essential items in my hunting gear. Hello everyone, Mitch from the Upland Path channel. On today's video, I wanted to cover what I keep in my dog med kit. Hopefully this video will be helpful for you as you are looking to build out your med kit for your upcoming hunting adventures. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a veterinarian, but I did work directly with my vet in order to build out this med kit for my purposes of hunting. Now, I'm hunting in Minnesota or South Dakota mostly, where I'm not running into some of those poisonous animals such as rattlesnakes, scorpions, etc. So your kit may look different based on where you're hunting, but hopefully this serves as a great baseline for you as you look to build out your kit. Now, I'm not going to cover absolutely everything. I'll gloss over some things, but if you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to me via comments. I'll try and do my best to answer your questions directly. Kind of working my way left to right. All this does go into my Mud River dog carrier. For example, I have disinfecting wipes. Now, it's never fun to run into those, but accidents do happen in the kennel or while you're out in the field, etc. And sometimes it's just nice to quickly clean out the kennel, clean out the dog box, etc. So always keeping disinfecting wipes with you is really nice to have. I also keep a big container of hydrogen peroxide. So mostly you're going to use this for inducing vomiting for a dog. Note there is instructions for how to do that. Please work with your veterinarian if you have questions on kind of what capacity or how much to give your dog in order to induce vomiting. It's not a whole lot and it works very, very quickly. But note, there is some times in which you don't want to induce vomiting for your dog. So please work with your veterinarian if you have any questions specific to that. Kind of continue to go through here. I do keep hemostats in my med kit. I also keep one in my vest just in case. Now, most of this time I'm using it to take out quills if I run into it with a porcupine incident. But those are there. I keep them in my case readily available just in case. Probably the most frequent item that I actually end up using in my med kit is a thermometer. This does go rectally for dogs, and the biggest thing is knowing what your dog's normal operating temperature is supposed to be at. So I usually do a baseline once a month with my dogs. It also just helps me quickly realize if my dog is sick for any reason at home. So my German Shorthair's operating temperature is usually around 99.5 to 100.5. So anything below that or higher than that, I know that I have to get her into a veterinarian to get some care because something's wrong with her. So I recommend getting a thermometer that you can use for your dog. The quicker the better, because you're trying to hold them down while you're trying to take their thermometer can be difficult. With that, I also use Vaseline just because it helps with that injection for that part. So the other item that I highly recommend having is an extra pair of nail clippers. It does happen that sometimes when you're out in the field, a dog will bust a nail. What you end up having to do is you have to cut it back such that it doesn't split anymore. That can be very painful for the dog. If you clip it, you're going to be quicking them most likely because they'll be bleeding. So I also pair it with some quick clot. You'll usually see this. Kind of what you end up doing is you put it in the cap and you kind of push their nail into it to kind of stop the bleeding for that. This also does kind of work on tails is what I found, but usually you're going to be using it for the dog nails. The other item that I tend to see people forget about is a tick remover. So if you're hunting in the woods or even out in the prairie, you're going to run into ticks most likely on your dog. So doing a tailgate check after a hunt to make sure that there's nothing on them, you can remove those quickly. Having a quick access tick remover, I usually have it on my keys for me, such that I can remove those and they're not going to cause any issues, Lyme disease, etc. for your dog. The other most essential item is triple antibiotic. So this is just to quickly heal some scrapes, cuts, wounds, etc. that you may run into in the field for a dog, help them heal up nice and quick. Highly recommend this. Now, what I would usually do is I pair this with some chlorhexidine. So if I get a cut or a scrape or something in the field for a dog, what I'm going to end up doing is spraying with water to clean out and flush out that wound. Add some chlorhexidine to that wound, spray it again with water, add some more chlorhexidine. Again, what you're trying to do is just clean out that wound as best as possible. And then we'll usually staple it up, or if it's small enough, I'll just apply some triple antibiotic and just kind of let it heal it up. I do keep a skin stapler as well as skin stapler remover in my med kit. I actually keep a few of them just in case. You can buy these on Amazon. Highly recommend having one just in case. Also recommend knowing how to use one. There's a lot of videos out there how to use a skin stapler, how to remove it. So if you get a cut with a dog in a field, if you can staple it, great quick triage for them, just to get that wound closed up. But first of all, make sure the wound is clean. So the next item is taking care of their eyes. So I recommend Opticare. It tends to work really nice. It's a water-based solution that can go directly in their eye. So I usually will apply it to my finger, usually about I'm going to say like a penny size, if that, and then I'll rub it at the corner of their eye and then push it back. What you're trying to do is flush out if there's any seeds in there, etc. This seems to work really, really well. Usually it gets everything out and it'll clear out their eyes without causing any issues. So the last kind of nice to have item would be any ear wash. When you're out in the field and you're running dogs, they're going to get seeds in their ears. It just happens. So during that tailgate check, checking if there's anything in there. What you're looking for usually in the field or when you're done hunting is you'll see your dog kind of swatch their ear. They'll wait a little bit and then they'll keep flopping their ears. That means there's usually something in there. So using some ear wash to kind of get that stuff out. You're trying to flush it out, spray it in there, kind of massage the ears, let it work its way, and then let the dog kind of shake it out and then go in there with usually a cotton round, or I use Q-tips as well to kind of dig around in there and get out. Now, for Q-tips, you have to be careful. You're only supposed to go in about an inch, I would say, so about that much into their ear just to try and get it out. But that's going to vary based on your dog, so if you have a smaller dog, don't go as far. So other nice to haves that I would recommend, I keep baby aspirin. This is 81 milligrams. Now the dosage for aspirin is 1 tablet per 15 pounds. I usually end up using about 1 or 2 tablets for my dog, who's around 40 pounds. But this is kind of just if I know they twist their leg or if they're in some pain, just for some pain management for them. It's quick, it's easy, but don't overdose your dog. The next is some Benadryl or allergy relief. Now this is a 25 milligram. So the dosage for this is 1 tablet for every 25 pounds. So again, that's if you're running into some bee stings or something along those lines. Those are the 2 things that I keep. I also then worked with my vet to get some trazodone. I just have it handy. Usually if we're out there and the dog's struggling to sleep or is restless or something along those lines, I keep it handy. I usually do not use this or I don't need it, but I just like to have it available if needed. So the next item I'll run into is some wound care if I do run into it. So it's never fun, but it does happen. What I would recommend is getting a muzzle for your dog. Sometimes if it's bad enough, your dog, even if they're very well trained, can retaliate, I will say. So having a muzzle for them just to keep you safe as you're trying to treat them, or even a buddy that's maybe out in the field helping you out, putting a muzzle on them just to make sure that no injury is going to happen. I also then have some gloves just in case you have to get dirty or you want to make sure your hands are clean when you're doing some wound care. I then also have 2 different styles of vet wrap. This is readily available. You can get it at any Tractor Supply store or anything along those lines. Now, this is how I'll say is compression based. So if it gets wet, it's going to tighten up. What I usually like to do when I apply it is I'll stretch it out first, kind of make sure it's nice and fully extended, and then I'll apply it. But usually what I'm going to end up using is some of these gauze pads. And I love using these containers. It just helps keep everything organized. So a free gauze pad, I'll usually put that between them and the wound. Excuse me. Put the gauze pad, then I'll wrap them, and then I'll usually use this non-tear medical style wrap just in case if it's big enough or bad enough. Now again, I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not going to say that field care is going to cure everything. Sometimes if it does get bad enough, you have to go to your veterinarian. You have to seek that necessary care. My goal is just to get them treated up enough that I can get to that vet to help them and prevent any further injuries. So highly recommend. The last item is sometimes it's going to be dark, so I recommend a pen light, something just to quickly look either in the ears, in the mouth, in the nose, having it readily available. The reason I like a pen light rather than a headlight is when you have a headlight, sometimes it doesn't get the right angle, so I like to put this actually in my mouth while I'm kind of investigating, so then I have my hands free. The last but not least that I keep in my med care is obviously my own personal first aid. So you can buy these anywhere. It's gonna happen that you're gonna get cut, scrapes, etc. So this is just Band-Aids, some antibiotics, as well as some tweezers. So again, this is pretty much everything that I keep in my kit, my med kit. You can remove stuff, you can add stuff to it, but find out what works for you, what kind of injuries you may run into, and then go out from there. So again, if you have any questions related to kind of what's in my hunting med kit, why included things, why I excluded things, feel free to reach out to me via the comments. Otherwise, please continue to watch this channel, like and subscribe, and I really appreciate your guys' support.